Dude, it's not, when you're typing, you type so fast. It's like
my cyborg fingers. They're not even real hands.
Yeah. It sounds like a fake sound that I add to like a video.
I'm 60% human and 40% robotic now.
That's like 200 words per minute, man. Be careful. You might burn your keyboard.
In like 50, 100 years from now. Like, are you full human?
That's funny. Welcome, everyone. We got PropStream with your Burton. We were having some technical difficulties. Thanks for waiting. We appreciate you. Let's talk about finding, converting, and just overall deciding how we're going to move forward in this world where I think it's even more important to understand where your business is coming from. We need to create these opportunities. And really, that's what we're going to talk to Burton about here, because every time I talk to him, I find something new that I didn't know about in PropStream. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same today. So what do you got for us?
Well, we got tons. I mean, I know the hottest topic has always been kind of the lead generation. I love to, for those that are new to this or just tuning in for the first time, obviously PropStream is kind of broken down into three things. We can help you find opportunities through our lead filtering system. Property analysis, we have a lot of data, so you can comp, see if there's a mortgage or multiple properties that the owner has, and then our outbound marketing. However, just recently, I was talking to someone about a feature that they didn't even know we had.
What?
It's our rehab calculator.
Rehab calculator?
Yeah, we actually work with a company called Blue Hammer, and within PropStream's property detail. So this is part of the property analysis part. You can pull up a property and not just run comps on it and look at the mortgage information, but we actually have a rehab calculator embedded in the property details, and it can give you local level costs on parts and labor. So if you're wondering what a kitchen costs in a different county that you're working on a property, or let's say you're an agent, you're working with the homeowner here, but they have a house in a different county and you want to know what renovations are going to cost in that different county, PropStream can help you with that.
No way. It breaks it down for you?
Absolutely. And there's three ways to approach it. One, you can pick a section of the house and it gives you like the complete breakdown of what renovations will be. You get to choose the quality of material as well. Two, if you know what you're doing, you can go on this like line item shopping list where you can say, I want this, I want that. What's my cost for all of this? Or three, this is my preferred option. I don't know anything when it comes to renovations or being a contractor. So number three is like a setup wizard. It gives you pictures. And as you're talking to a homeowner or you're dealing with a property, you just click on the pictures that need renovations and it gives you all the pricing on that.
Yeah, I didn't even know it had that.
I'd like to show you that if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, man. Listen, let's go to that. And then let's start with, right after that, show us how to find and convert these possible leads.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's share my screen and I'm going to show everyone how to get to the rehab calculator. And this is available in every property detail that we have. So for those that don't know, we are nationwide. You can either search a county or a city or zip code and build a list. We're going to talk about that in just a few moments. Or we can go into a single property and do some renovations. So let me show you how this can work in a crazy way. I'm in Southern California. So normally I would pull up a property in Southern California and kind of take it from there. But let's say today I'm dealing with a property in Boulder, Colorado. Okay. I have never been. So shout outs to the Bucks, by the way. Anyhow, we're in Boulder, Colorado. And so let's say we're dealing with this random property here on this corner. And as I'm talking to the homeowner, I'm discovering that this house needs renovations. Okay. Holy smokes. I'm sure a roof in Colorado doesn't cost the same here in Southern California. And so to help me with understanding the renovation costs, I go into the property details like I am right now. I'm going to go ahead and save this property. In order for us to run renovations, we do need you to save that property. But rest assured, depending on the plan that you have, you get as low as 25,000 records every single month. And pardon me on the little notifications blasting off here. But we're going to save this property. So let's call it, actually, we just saved it. So saved. And then right under the tools right here is where you're going to find our rehab calculator. Now we have two. We have a rehab calculator and an ADU calculator, but let's talk about both really quick. The rehab calculator is, again, you're talking with a homeowner whose house is over 100 years old. As you're talking to them, they're telling you that the kitchen needs to be remodeled. The bathroom needs to be done. Maybe the roof, maybe exterior paint, whatever. Maybe you go visit the property and you write down a checklist of what needs to be done. You can now pull up that property in PropStream, go to our tools, click on rehab calculator, and then we're going to take you over to Bluehammer. And then this is where you can run a renovations report. So here's how it works.
Sure.
Once you click on rehab calculator, another tab will open. We're sending Bluehammer the address. All they need is for you to give them a little bit of the details. So right here, you're going to click on this pen and paper icon and just fill out this information. And you can find all of that here in PropStream. So you can see the beds, the bathrooms, the half baths if it exists, right? All of our property characteristics here. How many stories? This is a single story property. Living area square footage. We can see that right over here, 1296. And then the year built, I believe we saw 1920. The more detail you can provide Bluehammer, the better your analysis gets. So the next page are features like the type of property, structure quality. Again, all of that can be found in PropStream. So just fill that out. And then once you do, last thing it's going to ask you is just the type of material that currently exists on that property. So go ahead and fill that out. Then when you hit close, you're now giving Bluehammer all the property information. You're going to hit this button, estimate new project costs, and name it. You can call it the kitchen project, maybe the address, 1803 Canyon Boulevard project.
Okay.
Once you name it and hit let's go, here are the 3 avenues to take when it comes to renovations. We're going to start from bottom up, okay? Bottom up, search by individual actions. This is for someone that really knows what they're doing. You click on this option, and here are all the line items a house would normally use during a renovation. So if you need flooring, go ahead and click on that. What type of flooring do you need? Is it vinyl? Are you removing and resetting? Is it carpet? Are you doing it per foot, per yard? So it gets really, really granular. Masonry, lighting, landscaping, insulation.
That's detailed, man.
On and on. Absolutely. So that's, again, for someone who is very knowledgeable, knows what they need, what line items they're going to need to do the renovations themselves. For, let's say, a portion of the property, talking to the homeowner, let's say they tried to do renovations. Unfortunately, renovation funding ran out. They just never got back to the kitchen, right? Or the bathroom is the last thing that needs to be completely remodeled. That would be popular projects. You click on that. These are certain things that investors, fix and flippers would normally do right off the bat. So in this case, if the bathroom is the last thing that needs to be done, I select that. It's going to ask me what in the bathroom needs to be performed. Is it an accessory? Is it a complete remodel? Is it the plumbing? Is it the shower? So in this case, it's a complete remodel. What type of complete remodel? Is it a tower shower combo? Is it a separate tub shower combo? Is it a half bathroom? So as you make your selection in items, maybe it's fiberglass inserts instead. What quality do you want? Is it designer? Is it the cheapest, or somewhere in between? And then doing that, it'll spit you out your cost. So that's the second option. And that's more for like a certain portion of that property. The third is my favorite option, and that's complete remodel by area. Again, I told you earlier, I don't know where to even begin when it comes to fix and flipping, but I sure can talk to a homeowner. So when I'm speaking to that homeowner, I click on this option and it gives me a bunch of pictures.
Okay.
And I just ask the homeowner about the pictures. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, does your bathroom need to be remodeled? Yeah. All right, great. Check that off. What about the doors, the exterior? Do those need to be changed? You know, maybe they had a dog and it was running back and forth or chewed a hole through it, right?
Yeah.
Doors, interiors, do those need to be done? Flooring, HVAC, does the kitchen need to be remodeled? How about the lighting, the painting on the outside, the painting on the inside? Does the water heater need to be replaced? What about the windows? Do we need to put double pane windows now because this property is built in 1920s, right? So I just ask them the pictures from left to right. And as I select what needs to be done, what doesn't, I can now hit continue. And Bluehammer takes all that property information I gave it to at the very beginning, the items that I just selected using one of these 3 things, and then now my project details tells me my do-it-yourself costs and your actual costs if you were to use a contractor at a local level.
Can we export this to like some type of a PDF or anything?
Absolutely, you can. Before you do that, though, you can make line item adjustments. So let's say you're ready to remove the bathroom vanity, sinks, and faucet. You can take that 3 and say 0. It adjusts your costs. Once you make your cost adjustments, go through each line item. You can then hit project report here at the top, Tristan. And then that gives you that friendly PDF printable file. And it even breaks it down based on the category, the bathroom, the lighting, the exterior paint, entire house, whatever options that you've selected. And what I absolutely love at the very bottom is it gives you your do-it-yourself costs and your estimated local level costs using contractors. And this is a great tool to use to either educate the homeowner, because you get some homeowners that are probably unrealistic. They'll say things like, I'll do the renovations myself. Well, great. Here's a list of things that you'll probably need to do and the cost if you did it yourself. If you use a contractor, it's going to cost you $26,000 more. That might be the reason why they don't want to do the renovations and sell it as is or whatever. Or you're talking to a local contractor. Again, you're new to this market. You don't know pricing. I can take this report, go to a contractor and say, hey, what can you do with this? Right? Can you beat the price? Maybe you see something I don't see. Again, it can be used as a negotiation tool or as a tool to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and you're not paying more than you should. So this is our renovations calculator here, Tristan.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that existed.
Absolutely. And the second one is because it's gotten very popular, especially in places like California and Texas, is our ADU calculator. So let's say this property has some space to build an ADU. Maybe you want to convert the garage or the granny flat, or it has a big lot size for you to add a separate ADU. That ADU calculator, also hosted by Blue Hammer, lets you get local level costs. So 4 quick things that we're going to ask you is, what type of ADU are you creating? So let's say,
dude, hold on, right on that. Right on that, like just that image, we as agents could snapshot that, like ADU calculator, snapshot that whole thing that shows half of the page, right where that little house ends, where it says garage conversion. And then we could put that into a postcard and send that to all of our area. And then start promoting it that way. And we could also just text that over to, if we have like a list of our farm area clients, right? But dude, that's how you start sending it to homeowners and offering value. Because even if they don't want to work with me as an agent because they're not selling or buying, this is added value. Now I meet them where they're at. I love this.
I love that strategy. I love that every time I teach you something new, you find a really interesting angle to utilize it to help educate or find newer opportunities, Tristan.
Thanks, man. We make a good team.
I love how your brain works. It's really cool. But in this case, let's say we want to convert that existing garage into something that can be rented out. That would be, in this case, a garage conversion. Obviously, we're going to want to make sure we check out the square footage. So let's say, standard 600 square footage garage. Quality, I mean, I would say this, if it's attached to the property, maybe the quality needs to be better or more, unless it's a separate one. Again, we'll leave that up to you guys to decide. And then last option, do you need any HVAC or laundry in this ADU? I argue because it's attached, maybe they're sharing the family's HVAC and ADU. Perhaps if it's a detached ADU, maybe you would like that for convenience purposes, right? Maybe that increases the rental value of that ADU as well, having a separate, washer, dryer, and a laundry or HVAC. So if you need it, go ahead and select them. And then once you've made your type selection, your square footage, your quality, and additional options, here's the estimated total foundation, electrical, framing, including permits.
Dude.
And this is as of again, because markets change, labor costs can change, politics can change. This is a calculated snapshot. So it tells you as of right now, this is what the cost is.
Dude, I love this.
Really, really great. And actually, I just forgot, because again, the way that you were thinking, I saw an agent brought this up to me, and she's like, I started using this to get an idea of what the existing ADU on the property is worth. and I kind of use it like a comp. If I see an attached or a detached ADU when I'm working on a property, I come here, I punch in these variables, and then I work backwards from that number, especially if it's in disrepair or if it just needs a little bit more added to it. And I was like, so you're using it like a comp, an ADU comp? She's like, exactly. Yeah. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's crazy interesting.
Now that you added this other information, I would snapshot the whole thing. And so if you're paying attention, everyone, pick your area, get to this stage, snapshot it, put it up on your social, personal Facebook or LinkedIn if you've got a good following there, wherever, and just say, want me to run this for your home? Right? I'm running these all day today. Want me to run it for your home? Right?
I love that.
Because now, dude, who isn't curious? I'm curious. I just logged into PropStream and I'm running it right now. So that's why.
And you know what? I as you're saying this right now, I literally just got chills because I was just thinking of ways we can use this to find more opportunities out there. So is it okay if I pivot from this to the lead generation?
Yes, please do it.
All right. So knowing that we have not just the renovations calculator, but this ADU calculator, like how can I use this ADU calculator advantageously, right? Well, knowing that I now know what an ADU would cost if we were to create one or if there's one existing, let's find properties in this market here. So what's this, Boulder, Colorado? Let's find properties that we can go up to an owner and say, hey, your property could get an ADU. And how do we do that? Well, you saw the pictures, right? So I would go with PropStream's lead generation. So once you pull up your market, our search filter is here at the top. And all we have to do is just build that conversation piece. So first off, I'd probably start with just wanting to talk to individuals who have probably been in their house for a long time, whether it's owner occupied or not. So we'll just keep it under any. And then this is where it gets interesting. Okay. This is where we can use what we just learned about the ADU calculator in our favor. So not only do I want individually owned properties with some years on it, here are the type of properties I want. I want those residential single family properties that, let's say, have a building size between, 1,500, 3,500. We'll keep it standard, right?
Yeah, easy.
But here's a caveat. It has a large lot size. What does that mean? I can add an attached detached ADU. So what I'm looking for is homeowners who have the opportunity to have an ADU on their property. And then I can go reach out to them and say, hey, would you like to know what an ADU would cost on your property?
A letter, dude. Send them a letter.
Exactly. There you go. And then so not only can you look for properties that have huge lot sizes, that ADU picture showed you a few other things. Like we can take a property with 2 stories and turn it into ADU. So my first search would be all the properties with a large lot size. I save those 9,000, send them a postcard. Hey, add an ADU to your lot, right? That's one lead there. Then I build another list. This time, it's not the properties with the large lot size. It's the properties with a 2-story, right? Second story. So now I say, hey, if you have a second story, have you considered, adding an ADU, or if there's a roof? As a matter of fact, right over here, we have these features. So you saw in the picture, we can take a garage and convert it into an ADU. So go to Boulder, Colorado. I need all single family properties that have a garage. So there are your 12,000. That's your second list, right? So your first list are properties with large lot sizes. Hey, are you aware you can add an ADU? Here's the cost of it. Second list, anybody with the garage, are you aware you can convert your garage into the ADU, especially if you're not using it or if you want to add some rental cash flow to your property? The third one would be, well, who has an attic, right? Because we have that ADU calculation. We can take that attic and turn it into a granny flat. So these are 3 different lists that we can use based on what we just learned a few moments ago, and that's the ADU calculator that PropStream has. So while you can use it not to just analyze a current property, because we have it, use it in your favor to educate these homeowners in Boulder or whatever market that you can help them get an idea of what an ADU attachment or a creation of an ADU would cost at their home.
I like to, sorry, question. There's a good question here because I had the same question. Dimitri, good question. Does PropStream have an API to grab motivated sellers as soon as their motivation trigger happens?
No, we don't have a forward-facing API at the moment. So no direct integration with our data at the moment.
Got it. Good question, though. All right. What else you got for us? Because this is cool.
Yeah, no, and this is again just the constant conversation of just looking at data in a different lens. It's not so black and white as I always argue. So, two important things that we talked about today. One, it's that anytime you're analyzing a property, which is one of our strongest features, remember there is these tools available for you, and that's the renovations calculator, especially if you're new or not seasoned enough when it comes to renovation costs, but that ADU calculator as well, as it's becoming a very popular thing in certain states. But knowing again that we have these elements, right? Knowing that you can get local level renovation costs, knowing that you can get what an ADU cost is, that's something you can now educate homeowners in the market, right? You have a tool that tells you, hey, if you go to Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio today, PropStream can tell you what a cost of a roof is going to be worth in that market. So guess what? I would go in PropStream, Cleveland, Ohio right now. And you know what I would do? I would look for all the properties that are 25 to 30 years old. Why? Because I'm going to let them know, hey, would you like to know the cost of a roof? Right?
Yeah.
Or would you like me to connect you to a contractor? Or the third option is it's too expensive to do the roof. I might as well just sell my property. And that's your opportunity. So we take the renovation calculator that PropStream has, knowing it can give us a cost anywhere in the United States. I now can go anywhere in the United States and find properties that need renovation and educate them on the costs.
When does the dialer kick in?
Oh, great question. So we're actually in the middle of all the technology integration. So we're hoping that it kicks in. I don't want to give any cost, but in the next few months. So just tune in. What you want to definitely do is make sure you follow our blog and our social media, as we're going to make sure we let everybody know ETAs and release dates.
So dialer goes into effect, you think, before the end of the year?
That's my wish list. I mean, I would love for come Christmas. Yes, but knowing technology, I don't want to put an ETA out there. I don't want to jinx it, but we're trying to get it in as fast as technology possible.
Got it. Because as soon as I have all this, click a button and I start dialing.
That's the intention of that acquisition that we did in July 1st.
I'm like, rehab calculator, ADU. Now you just gave me a whole different set of people to communicate with, right? I love this. Steve's asking, how accurate are the rehab calculations, since the construction costs will likely vary by area and location?
That is 100% true. And that's why we work with Blue Hammer. So Blue Hammer, again, if you want to do some research on the company itself, we chose them because of the fact that they, for a very long time, have been working with a bunch of large insurance companies. So if someone were to crash into your kitchen today, right, Blue Hammer is typically the company that insurance companies would ask, what are the costs for these renovations? So we found out who they were. We pivoted and decided to bring them in. And so they're giving you local level costs to zip code. However, just like with the ADU calculator, anytime you get a cost within PropStream's rehab calculator, ADU calculator, you have to understand that it's a snapshot of the current moment. So when I say, hey, I need an above garage ADU, make sure it's 600 square footage, let's use better material, and we're going to need HVAC in there so the person doesn't, burn to death or whatever. This calculation is as of this very moment. Why? Because the market could change literally in the next hour. And so we want to make sure that what you're getting is at the moment. It's not saying this is the cost in 6 months from now. This is the cost last week, because last week it could have been 275 and it dropped down to 251. So great question. These are essentially ran at the very moment that you're querying the renovation.
That's awesome. Great question, Steve.
Yeah,
well,
really good question.
I love this, man. I like this a lot. And now I'm curious what else I'm going to learn the next round.
Oh, you're getting me. You're really putting me to the test, Tristan. So every time I'm here, I have to come up with something new, and hopefully this helps you guys with your ADU and renovation queries that you have with homeowners. But maybe it's a new way to find opportunity and educate people on how they can, renovate their property or add some extra cash flow to their property.
Yeah, I'm thinking just bridging the gap where you have all of the data, right? And I'm wondering if we can have our next session be extracting niche data, because we can go anywhere, and then having a marketing plan to use Meta as well as mailers, right? Because I know you guys have the mailer piece, but I'd love to look more into dissecting that data and then giving us more ideas as to how to
Yeah,
market to these people.
I love that. And I agree with that. I think the marketing, especially in today's world, I think marketing needs to really resonate with that homeowner emotionally, right? And obviously professionally. You want to make sure they're confident in your ability, but you have to understand these people are going through a lot of emotion. And so we want to make sure we market to that correctly. And I love what you're going with that. Like if we create a unique situation, what is that unique message for that homeowner based on that filter that you use? So
Yeah, dude, I
like
love it.
that.
Thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for doing this. And if you have any questions, just go to PropStream or visit us in the Facebook group. Find us on Instagram, scan the QR code. You'll find us. The thing that I want you all to remember is just to use this. This is so powerful. You can use this for a lot of things. So thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you.
Take care, everybody.